Then you're safe. You're safe.
Opposite side.
We can say whatever we want over here.
It's good for those mimes.
Memes?
No, I'm the,
And we're live.
the deaf people that only watch it.
They have subtitles. They can watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. YouTube has subtitles. Don't discriminate, foe.
I don't want to think mimes though. They're the ones that don't talk.
We are all sober at this table. I just want to say that today's day 17, I think, of 75 hard. Day 17, day 18, somewhere in there, somewhere around there. 75 hard, cycle 3. So, and there's a bunch of patrons playing along in the home game. When we first started, there were like, I think 104 people that said they wanted to be on the team. And I think we had 28 people comment yesterday.
All right.
So, yeah.
80-20.
And well, what I said when we started was if 10 of them make it across the finish line with me, that'd be awesome. I'll be super impressed. So, shalom, everybody in the comments. Hey, if you are new here, there's just a handful of rules. The first is y'all be nice to each other in the comments. No yelling at one another. You treat everybody in the chat. What's up, Kyle M., the Iridium Group, Badger, Sarah, Bug Out Bob, all the Blue Ranches, Shalom, Billy Hill. Treat everybody in the chat as your brother and sister, okay? And if you had like a shitty childhood growing up, treat them better than your brother and sister, all right? Be nice to them. So be cool and be cool to me. If you want me to answer your question, post the question in all caps. And if I see it and I want to answer it, then I will answer it. If I see it and I don't want to answer it, then I won't. If I don't see it, I won't answer it, okay? And also, if one of the moderators answers your question in the chat, your question has been answered because we get a lot of repeat questions. They know the answers to the questions. Lastly, grindstoneministries.com. This YouTube thing here we do, this is a free platform, okay? Usually we talk about how to save lives. We talk about Refuge Medical and 50 lives saved and Made in America and all that stuff. And that stuff's excellent. It's awesome. It's a huge part of our purpose, why we get out of bed every morning. But so is Grindstone. And so if you see some value in what we're doing here tonight, I would ask you that rather than super chatting here, if you could go to Grindstone, and there's a link in the description, rather than super chatting here, go donate to Grindstone. We have more than a dozen cases we're actively working, and that's expensive. These are people who bad things have happened to, and we're helping them put their lives back together again. And we are in the process of building Caleb House, which is our restoration facility. And the Father saw fit to give us cases before he gave us a restoration facility. So, yeah, our operational costs have gone through the roof. And I am not too proud to beg y'all. We need help. So, if you'd like to donate to Grindstone Ministries, that would be excellent. Now, with that being said, let's do the live stream. What's up, Randy Wolf? Questions go in all caps. How do I get to where you are in life? That's a great question. Do hard shit. And I don't mean that facetiously. Like, just decide every day that you're going to be harder than life is. Like, discipline. And discipline waxes and wanes, right? Like, some days you have more, some days you have less.
If you say to yourself, and this is going to be too hard to do, do it.
Do it right now.
Do that.
Do it right now. If you start trying to talk yourself out of whatever it is, do it right now. And then, let's see. Debt. We don't do debt. Got out of debt early in life. Never got back into debt. Let's see. Mentors. I've always had mentors. Can we please turn that light down a little bit? I'm already getting a headache from that freaking thing. Whoa. That's not down. Oh, wow.
Good dark.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mentors. There we go. I guess that works.
Is that better?
I've always tried to find people that knew more than I do about certain subjects and then make myself indispensable to them so that they would have a tolerance for me and my shenanigans, take me under their wing and teach me stuff. And so I believe a lot in mentorship. I also believe a lot in not just studying, but also like living in the school of hard knocks, learning from doing. So thank you, TRW. So how to get to where I am in life, just do stuff, do it tenaciously, trust in the Father, don't make stupid moves. Shalom tactically, Torah. What other questions we got? You have a question?
I don't, but can I jump on the last statement you just said?
Sure.
Don't do stupid moves.
Yeah.
But it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, I
Make
agree with
moves
that.
and make mistakes and then learn from them and build off those.
I agree with that.
Don't be like, I don't want to be stupid so I'm not going to do it. No, do it. And if you make a mistake, learn from it. Most people succeed by making mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made more than our fair share. What was the last task you failed at, and what did you take away from it as a lesson learned?
I saw that question from Broken Out. I've been sitting here trying to think about how to answer that without sounding like a facetious a-hole. I don't know the last task I failed at. And see, even just saying that out loud sounds like it's full of ego and hubris.
Right. Well, Dragon Shield just said you only fail when you stop trying. Like,
Yeah.
Right. So is it like, would you consider it a failure when you just found you went the wrong way and needed to pivot?
So
That's how you think of things more than like failure.
I'll tell you to the question. What I have found, especially as my faith has grown, who is that? Is that Jody?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What I have found, come on in. What I have found is that the Father will not allow me, if I'm doing something for him, he will not allow me to fail. And that's like super humbling because he puts me in really difficult spots. And I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. There's no way this is going to happen. And then it does. And then that's not because I'm awesome. It's because he's awesome. So I don't know. I trying to think of like what's the last thing I like failed at.
I don't think we have had, like, because we just keep trying. Like,
Also, I said there's always a pivot is more than like a
Yes.
failure.
yeah.
I mean, like Nelly eating our sheep.
Right.
That was a failure.
That was a failure.
But we learned from it. We moved on.
Right.
And got another dog, got more sheep, won't make those mistakes again.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of, yeah.
yep. If you learn something from a mistake, it's not a failure. You should be learning from your victories as well, though.
Yes.
Like
potato towers.
Potato towers. There you go.
Failure.
Yeah.
They were a failure.
They were a failure. But see, even then, I
But that was,
I don't think about them in that regard, though.
Right.
It's
No.
like,
it was a learning.
and that in of itself is a teachable moment. You can do it, I believe it.
Trying
You
not to.
you need a Halls or something?
Then I'll
Okay.
choke on it.
I don't see those as failures. It's just, it is what it is. On to the next thing. And you should also you shouldn't just be learning from your failures. You should be learning from your life, right? Like your wins as well. How do you continue to stack those wins together in a way that you build momentum and you learn what works and what doesn't work? Like keep doing what works. because I have made a lot of mistakes in life, and most of what I know how to do is because I know what not to do in a certain area.
And keep doing what you're good at.
Attack, and re-attack. I agree. Is barbed wire good enough to contain sheep? No, it is not.
No.
Anthony Jensen, Patreon is pushing to get rid of the $1 tier. How will that affect those of us still in the $1 tier? You will remain at the $1 tier. It won't be open anymore. That's my understanding. Now, my $1 tier has been closed for a while because I became aware of that rule that Patreon is instituting a while ago. And I'll be frank with you. It's much easier to deal with one $5 patron than it is to deal with 5 $1 patrons. So, generally speaking, that's true. Law of averages, Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. So we moved it to a $5 tier months ago, and it's worked out wonderfully for us. And also, frankly, for most people, if you have $1, you have $5. So it's not that big of a difference. And I think the value that we provide on Patreon exceeds $5 a month by a lot. But as far as I understand, if Patreon does away with their $1 tier, everybody who's currently at the $1 tier will be grandfathered in. That's my understanding from Patreon. So what else do we have? Just joined the $20 Patreon club this week, full of useful intel. Thank you, Hillbilly Homesteader. Appreciate that. Extremely hot here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. It's extremely hot everywhere. Although it rained here earlier, and when I drove up I was driving, when I hit the cloud wall, it went from 104 to 75. So almost 30-degree drop.
Right now.
And we got out
That fast. Oh, it was awesome. And it rained for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
101 in Topeka, Kansas. Yep, it's hot. It's super hot. Let's not do that thing like gas prices where everybody's like, it's $4.35 a gallon here where I am. Like,
so he said, how do you become a Patreon?
and you click the link in the description of every video and live stream. There's a link in every video and live stream. If you ain't got $5, you need to utilize your $1 better. That's right, Dragon Shield. I agree with that. All right, what other questions we have? Put them in all caps. Put them in
I
the
like
chat.
to save my $1 bills and just not spend them. Like, that's
Yeah.
how I get tuck money away. Like,
Yeah.
My
You
mom
just
used to
don't-
save them
yeah, you just
because
don't.
there was a radio station that had a code on it.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it was like, I think it was like 97 or something. And if you had $1 with a 97 on it, and they read this code of the whole dollar, you won money. She had like
It could be his
500
mom
$1
sometime.
bills with it.
Wow.
There's a 97 somewhere in the dollar.
She had Beanie Babies too.
Oh
Okay,
gosh.
okay.
Yeah.
Evic314 said, what are you drinking tonight? I'm drinking water tonight. As my pastor likes to say, the warrior beverage. Because 75 hard, no alcohol for 75 days. In addition to everything else that you do on 75 hard, which is one of the things I love when people that are unfamiliar or only vaguely familiar with the channel stop by for a live stream. They're like, oh my God, you call yourself a man of God and you're drinking whiskey? It's like, lady, I can turn it on and off, like it's okay. Also, I don't call myself anything. You did that. Let's see. How's the garden? Very dry and mostly dead.
Yes.
Um,
So defeated. Like,
Are you a stickler about quality personal camouflage? You should have good camouflage, and you should also paint your face and the back of your hands if you're not wearing gloves, if you're out in the woods doing stuff. Not Tactical Tuesday, but a moment to acknowledge 8 hits out of 10 in 15 seconds from 30 to 40 yards. What's up, KD? Yeah, that's excellent. I
Really
think
good.
I'm probably going to go ahead and run that back at the range. Trash burning generator. I want one. They exist. They're electrical incinerators, and the smallest of which that I'm aware of is a 40 kilowatt, which is a pretty good size freaking generator that'll run in like 4 average size American homes.
Mhm.
Wow.
So
What does that cost?
I don't know because, we should ask, because the last time I priced, we didn't have any 501c3s and they work only with nonprofits, mostly in Africa. So, although I gotta be honest, we definitely wouldn't be using it for grindstone stuff. We'd be using it for camp stuff. So maybe don't ask them.
I'll donate a lot of trash for it.
I know you will.
We have a big family.
You have donated much trash in the time that I've known you. Scott Sparks said, "Pocket dump, bear go." I'm wearing shorts, and excuses are lies, so we'll go. I have this knife that Jimmy gave me in Kentucky, and it's just a little folder, and I carry it around. It's pretty special. He shared some testimony with me while we were on site in Kentucky working, and so I keep this in my shorts pocket. I have a lighter that Hunter Seeker gave me, which is a refillable clipper lighter that all the bushcraft guys love. And so I got a knife and I got a lighter, and then I have an airsoft training device right here and a cell phone. That's what I'm currently carrying in my shorts in the house.
Good job.
So, I forgot. And I have, because we've been doing some stuff lately with Grindstone, which is why I'm not too proud to beg. Kitty Lynn gave me this earlier at the office. And I think the camera's backwards on this.
No, it works.
Is it?
No, it's good.
Because looking at it here on my side of the screen, it says Era Uai Evarb.
No, it works.
So,
He's speaking of
that's great. Wyatt Coughlin, my garden is also mostly dry and dead, but I'm still trying to not give up yet. Also, do you know how many spaces are still available for the Philly class? I have no idea how many spaces are still available for the Philly class.
I think if any, it's just a few for
It's the responder
R1.
R1.
Yeah,
Yep.
but it's a few. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if it's on the website, you can.
Yep.
It'll stop you.
Nice high flyer. So when I walk out of the house, I realized one day a few months ago the difference between my EDC and my war belt is an AR mag. That's it. Like what I wear, under my button-down shirt when I walk out of the house, the only difference between that and my war belt is an AR mag. And so I just started throwing an AR mag in my back pocket. I also keep them in the pockets of the doors in the truck. So
Yes, you do.
there you
I feel
go.
like it just falls out of air mags, just fall out of.
I'm
when
the
you walk
Oprah
by.
of AR mags.
Yeah.
If you look under your seat, you get an AR mag. You get an
They're in the back seat, the
Yeah.
pocket.
Magpul Gen 3. What? Yeah. So, that backwards "You Are Brave" should be a shirt. Thanks, David Ortiz. We're working on a couple of shirt ideas right now. Number one fall garden crop: potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Do you have a comms plan that others can join a net? I have a comms plan, and no, you can't join it.
Well, I mean,
It should be localized. I'll
Discord.
address this. Yeah, there is Discord for the patrons. It's a perk of Patreon. So if you're on Patreon, when you join, you should have gotten a link to the Discord. Additionally, I think Badger, who runs the Discord, thank you, Badger, and thank you, Lantern X1, posts occasionally in the community section the Discord information. That being said, I get the question often enough that it sticks in my mind. People will say, well, Bear, what are you going to do after the balloon goes up? How are we still going to hear from you? Are you going to have like a ham radio net? No. When you transmit, you're basically drawing an arrow. You're sticking a pin into a map that says, I'm right here, right now. I won't be doing that. And you're just going to have to deal with the fact that if the world ends, Bear goes away. Cool. I'll be honest with you. Bear might go away before the world ends. There's days I don't want to do YouTube. True or untrue?
There's days we tell you not to do YouTube.
That is also true. Because when I'm in full-blown bear mode, yeah. Work boot recommendations. Man, that depends on what you do for work. I really like Chippewa loggers. I used to be a big fan of Georgia loggers as well, but I think they changed their manufacturing plants. And you might have clued into this, but I was cutting timber, so I was wearing logging boots. And then I wore those same boots doing construction. I also have a pair of Westco Highliners, which are phenomenal if we're climbing. But if you're not climbing, they weigh about 5 pounds a piece, so you probably don't want them for work boots. So are you not paying attention? This channel is to help make you independent. Yeah, thanks, Crazy Canuck. Exactly. 22 air rifles. Yeah, we have some 22 air rifles. Also, Tyler, my wife just answered you in the comments, but I'll let it slide this once. I'll say this: if you're going to use them to procure food, they work on rodents and down with a one-shot kill, which, by the way, just so we're all tracking here, is not food. Those things aren't food. Now, I grew up eating squirrels, and then I read Leviticus 11 in context of the whole Bible, and then I realized, those things aren't food. Do you ever carry concealed in a waistband appendix? I do, and it sucks. It's great if you're standing up or walking around. It's not great if you're sitting or driving. Says me. Your mileage might vary, but I'm a bear-sized man. So
instantly sucks.
Yeah, instantly sucks. And there's also the thing, like, and I realize your primary safety is your finger. I'm well aware of this. I've shot tens of thousands of rounds through a pistol, but that thing is pointed right at my junk. And just the mental concept of a round going through the boys is not a good idea. I don't like it. Somebody said, where's High Flyer?
Tango Liberty.
Saw recommended for light duty on an acre of land. Got a few trees I need to drop. Well, it depends on your skill level and the size of the trees. Probably a steel 271. The Husqvarna 455 and 460 ranchers have issues with the oilers. You can usually, when you buy those, you can buy them at Lowe's, box stores, Home Depot, stuff like that. Ace Hardware, but the oilers go out in them, and also not only do the oilers go out of them, but the chain tensioner goes out of them, and then you have a fairly expensive 100% useless chainsaw. And so for a saw of that size, probably a steel 271 with an 18-inch bar on it would serve you well, or a 290, 291, 292 with a 20-inch bar. And if you're brand new, don't get the RS chain, the Rapid Super chain. Get your regular safety chain on there because kickback's the thing. And if you don't know what Rapid Super or full chisel chain is, then definitely don't buy it and use it. And 100% have a freaking first aid kit and know how to use it, because chainsaws don't cut you. They physically remove material from you. So how do I know? I've been cut with a chainsaw 3 times. So Harmony, good booted for Weemon.
What?
She doesn't know. She doesn't wear boots unless I buy them for her. She has neoprene muck boots that she likes. So
Yes.
tips on discernment on Yahweh talking to you. That's a puppy talking over there.
That was Panda.
I'll tell you this.
Might have been. I looked back.
You're not going to be able to hear him in the big things unless you're hearing him in the small things. So I would 100% start with that. I would also say, and this is biblically speaking, I know 3 places where it says this in the Bible. Yahuwah our Elohim, the Lord our God, does not hear the prayers of those who do abominations. So I would stop doing abominations that fast. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Listen to him in the little stuff. And this is biblical. He who can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. So, New Job says no CCW. Do I still do it? I'm thinking yes. Hey, I'm not going to advise that you break the law, but lots of people have told me to do lots of things in my life that I didn't do. And lots of people have told me not to do lots of things in my life that I did do. So, any Hami freeze drying videos in the near future?
She rolled her entire head, not just her eyes.
Y'all. No. I suck at videos. And if he will do them with me, then maybe. But me by myself.
If we do them, we'll do them on Patreon.
Yeah.
That's usually where we talk about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the homestead and the canned food and the pressure canning and the
Because I need a talky companion. I'm not good just talking.
you just did great. You
Thanks.
you did great. Look at that.
So proud.
Milk exclamation point. I don't know what that means, Lady Smith, but you are freaking.
Freeze drying milk.
She is on
Yeah.
fire for some cow juice.
Okay.
When you say abomination, do you mean sin in general? No, there's a difference between abominations and sins. Abominations provoke the Father's wrath against you. And if you read Leviticus 11, there's a certain animal that everybody loves to eat that is an abomination. There are certain sexual acts that are on the rise in today's culture that are becoming cultural norms that are abominations. There's things that are abominations, and they provoke the Father against you. Sin is lawlessness. 1 John 3, verse 4. All who do sin do lawlessness. And so breaking the law is sin. Sin is a criminal activity. You are breaking the law. Abominations are different. They piss the Father off. So, do you know anything about making wood gas? No, I don't, because I've not done it myself. I've watched some videos on it. It seems super interesting. You know, the whole like getting the smoke to pass through a radiator to cool down, and then you get basically liquid smoke wood gas kind of stuff, and like seems cool. But I've never done it. Mostly the reason I've never done it is it's time consuming. Nice to see you live, Bear. Love the Revelation series you did for us. Take care, brother. Hawk out. Thanks, Hawk. Yeah, I've got to do Revelation 13 coming up. It's a tiny chapter. It's no big deal. It's just Satan and the false prophet and the beast and the Antichrist. So no big deal. No real implications, you know. What?
Cold.
What are we looking at? You're cold?
No.
Oh.
They're cold. They're pounding on top of
It's awesome to be cold in July. So
Yes, sir.
I'm in 2 Samuel. Thank you. Well, praise Yah. Don't thank me, man. I'm just a guy with an iPhone. Praise Yah for beef bacon. Amen to that. Hey, let me have one of them thingies.
What?
Does the rapture happen before or after Satan's 1,000-year?
What?
It doesn't happen. And Satan doesn't have a 1,000-year rule on the earth.
Yeah. There were so many things wrong with that.
Hey, guys, look at this screen. Including you. Look at the screen. Yep. You're famous now.
Cutie booty.
Yep. Are you sleepy or something? This is a Sam puppy. Yep. Which one's this?
Rat.
Rat.
Rat-a-tat-tat.
Big yawn. Yep.
Gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, I want him. Josh Cole said, ha 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 ha. Rapture.
$500 a
Yep.
piece for these things.
Probably. I don't know. They're bear independent dogs.
That's what I'm saying.
They're gonna be tough to ship, though.
On the website.
Yeah.
We could take one for Patreon.
That's funny. Do those ship in a bear fact? No, they barely fit in a bear fact.
Yeah.
They're beasts already. What's up, Free Spirit? $50 for the puppy. We'll talk. Hey, what's up, Angelo? Just bought a slot for the training class in Dallas in November. You didn't get a confirmation email. You should have. Hey, Angelo, email sales at Refuge Training. We'll handle that for you. Mentioned Refuge Medical and the Dark Wolf Den Show interview I did last night. Hope it blessed you all with more customers. Thank you, Chris Bobby. That's awesome. You know, and I think you commented that on a video recently as well. And so I'm vaguely aware of that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Puppy Buckets.
I'm gonna show these two.
These two? Oh my goodness. Here are more puppies my wife wanted me to show you.
This one's old lady,
Uh-huh.
and that one's flirty. Are they peeing on you?
Yeah, I think old lady just peed on me.
Trying to
That's okay. Old ladies pee sometimes. So,
I'm pretty sure it's on the laptop, which is a good job. Good aim.
yep. You did great.
Perfect.
Yep.
Good job, old lady.
Sam Pups. Somebody said, what is the name of the place that did your puppy training? Fairy Kennels, F-A-R-A-I, Fairy Kennels, and they have a Mighty Networks group, I believe it is,
correct, Mundo.
Worth
And-
every penny.
and it's worth every penny. Highly recommended.
Like 36 or 48 bucks a year.
$48 a year, and our dog Sam is incredible.
Said Refuge Medical.
Refuge. What's up, Palmetto? Do traditional Hebrews include the Apocalypse of Abraham in the Torah? I have no idea. Thank you, Ghost. I have no idea if they do or not. I know that there's a lot of people that call themselves Torah observant in Hebrew that are just frankly a bunch of assholes and do stuff that's 100% against the Torah, but will argue with you over dates and appointed times and, you know, sighted moon or new moon. And it's like, how about we just focus first and foremost on the two most basic commands? Love the Lord your God with everything you've got and love your neighbor as yourself. Let's start with that, right? Let's get those two prime directives, general orders number 1 and 2, right? Let's get those two things down, and then we can argue about the phase of the moon. Now, I do have a brother who likes to say, and I love it, as far as sighted moon is concerned, he said, hey, if I'm standing here with my back pointed towards you, am I mooning you? No. So if I drop my pants and stick my ass out at you, am I mooning you? Yeah, you're mooning me. Yeah, see, it's when you can see it, it's a mooning. And I was like, that's a really good point. So, but anyway, I don't know what traditional. I'm not a traditional Hebrew. I don't know what other people think, and there's a lot of denominationalism in the Messianic movement as well, and people forget the two prime directives. These puppies are going crazy right now.
Oh, yeah. There it goes.
Does it have to be all my neighbors? Yes, unfortunately. Well, it begs the question, who's my neighbor? What's up, NWA Prepper? Appreciate you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Where can I go to find red wheat berries 4 years into the past? The Bear Fag Burn Tech dressing came in real handy when I burned my hand on a campfire in the backcountry this weekend. I had to cut it into smaller pieces to apply it with a tape, but I was glad to have it. Jay, I'm sorry you did that, but I'm glad you had the stuff you needed. What's up, Julie? What's up, Loom? I don't think you can have a puppy. You need to talk to your husband about that. Bear, next year is the Shemitah for my garden. Should I let it rest or replant?
Yes.
If you believe next year is the Shemitah, then you let it rest, because that's what the Bible says. Is it the Shemitah year?
Nobody knows.
Well, the Jews say, yeah, they also say that the Shemitah year only applies to Eretz Yisrael, which means that land over there in the Middle East. So you can find a rabbi or a pastor to tell you everything you like is right or everything you like is wrong. It doesn't matter. So is it the Shemitah year? Is it your 7th year on the land? Or is it Rabbi Chaim ben Shmuel said it's the Shemitah year, and therefore it must be the Shemitah year? So I disagree with it only being in Israel. So do I. Because what does it say? When you come into the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess. I'll tell you what, he definitely gave us this place. We got this place for song and a dance. Jody de Gaetano, no problem. Also, love last name. Is owning a hog to clear land and weed sinful or just consumption of pork? So, no, you can own them. It just touch not the unclean thing. So when that thing's dead, you got a corpse on your hands just like you would have a human corpse. So, same thing. Bought the bleeding control set, vacuum sealed. How do I open to stage the tourniquet?
People always think that it's like sterile.
Oh, yeah, it's not sterilized.
No, that's what they think the bleeding control kit, they can't open it because it's vacuum sealed.
No, it's good that they got it. Who's got a cat on them? Anybody?
Yeah.
Good timing. All right. So, wow, that looks freaky on this camera and this lighting. How does that look on your end?
Looks great.
Does it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little hot pinkish, but
It is 100% hot pinkish if you're colorblind. All right. I guess we should probably turn the lights on for this part. All right. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take it out of the package, right, and get it so it looks like this. Everybody at home, take your tourniquets out. Start staging them. Okay? Okay? Pull it like so. Now, you can take this end right here, the red tip end, see it? You're going to put it through the buckle like so. Okay? So through the buckle. And you're going to pull 6 to 8 inches out. And ladies, that's more than you think it is. Your husband's been lying to you. You're going to pull 6 to 8 inches out like so. You're going to fold over this tip on the end like that. You okay, Jordan? All right. So you fold over the red tip like that. And then you're just going to press this down. So this is stuck to that. Okay? Now, here we have basic anatomy of a tourniquet, the stick, aka the windlass. Then you have the buckle, you have the C-clip up top here, time tab. Okay, so we're gonna fold up at the buckle like so. See it? And then we're gonna fold down like that. That's the stage tourniquet. There's a couple ways to stage that, but that's the stage tourniquet. We're also going to take our time tab. And we're going to put it off at an angle like that, at a 45-degree angle-ish. That's more like a 38-degree angle, but whatever. That way you don't need fine motor skills to get this off. Okay? Like so. And the reason we do it like that is if we need this, we can shake it out into a loop, and I got a loop ready to go. High and tight, not over the joint. Put it on, go to work. The other way you would stage this, if you so wanted, would be instead of folding up at the buckle and then down at the C-clip, you do it the other way around. Down at the C-clip and then up at the buckle. Now the Velcro sticks to itself and it's a relatively tight little package. This is good if you have multiple of these inside of a backpack or a kit or something and you don't want them to stick to anything or to each other. Now you got a tight little package. What I don't like about this is if you're going to use it for buddy aid, in order to get this thing out, see how it's still stuck to itself? So for yourself, I like to fold up at the bottom, down at the top. Now I've got the smooth part of nylon here, and I've got the Velcro part here. They don't stick to each other. So I can just whip this out, make a circle, go to work. That's staging a tourniquet in a nutshell. Different people do it different ways. That's cool. They can talk about it on their channel, not on mine. Well, my dad was in the Office of Strategic Services in Germany behind the lines in 1938, shooting the Nazis in the face with a stolen Luger pistol, and he said that they didn't have cat tourniquets at that time, so shut up, okay? That's what he said. Last month, I had a kitchen accident. My quick clot was available for my 14-year-old son to grab. awesome. I hope your kitchen accident worked out. I hope you can still count to 10. Roger that, Twyford tribe.
Yeah, a lot of people think that because it's
It's just vacuum packed.
that it's vacuum sealed, it's just for being more compact. They think
Right.
that
Better for shipping.
they think that it's sterile and they don't want to open it. I'm like, open it up, put it in
Open
your
it
own
up.
bag.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a rip tab on top.
Roger that, guitar man. Thanks for adding medvids here. Speaks volumes to your character and intent. Hey, I appreciate you. I'm growling, snarling, chirping. Why was the medical videos? Badger, that comment from Flustercluck is okay. That's not the end of the world there, bro. Good band hammering, but a little too trigger fingery on that one. The medical videos. So many of y'all were like, we can't come to training, but we don't know what to do. Okay, well, the videos aren't training, they're information. But if that information motivates you to go get training, awesome. If it allows you to get some work done in a pinch because it's better than nothing, awesome. But it ain't training. I really like the soft tee. What's up, Tactically Torah? Me too. That's why we carry it in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Have several year expired trauma med equipment and preps worth keeping. That depends on what it is. Bandages, tourniquets, pressure bandages,
Yes.
syringes that aren't preloaded, all that. Yes, keep it. The expiration date is because anything that has an NSN number or a national stock number that the government buys is required to have an expiration date. It shows you how the government works, right? Things like meds and fluids. I can't legally tell you that you should save them. I can legally tell you that you should definitely know the difference between good meds and bad meds. So how's that
Don't
for
use
an answer?
expired birth control.
No.
Don't use expired birth control. Copy that. I feel like you're speaking from experience on this one.
No, my doctor always said don't use expired birth control or inhalers. Like if it comes to breathing or birth control, throw it out. Everything else is just a little less effective.
Brandon Salgado, just search Bear Independent Bug Out Bag. I've got a half a dozen videos on it, including a bug out bag shakedown of my bags. So just check it out. Somebody said, speaking of training, how do I get training here in Oklahoma? Depends on where here in Oklahoma is. We've done Oklahoma City classes. We've done Tulsa classes. We've done Chewy, Oklahoma classes. We're thinking about doing a Lawton, Oklahoma class. So
Oklahoma.
What's that?
More
Oklahoma. So I don't know where you are, but I do know that if and this goes to everybody now, if you see a class that's in the state that you live in, that's probably the class you want to go to, because very rarely do we hit multiple cities in one state. So, does your kit include suture material and a needle? Should be one. Lady Bell, define which kit. The adventure kit does. The stomp bags do. The wound care bucket does. There are sutures available in our kits. An individual first aid kit does not need sutures. That's not what that's for. Ifaks or individual first aid kits are for trauma medicine, working the March algorithm, and nowhere in there does it say suture stuff. We don't have time to suture stuff when bullets are flying or vehicles are colliding into one another. So. Don't forget to buy medicine for your fish. I agree with that. Sometimes fish get sick. Hey, honey, can you hand me that right over there?
I have a lot of fish that get.
I hate it when my fish gets sick. That's why whenever my fish start feeling bad, I keep some fish mocks around just like this, because I have a prized fish collection and I do not want them to get sick. I couldn't live with myself if I allowed my fish to get sick. And by the way, you guys are probably, because I've heard people say, it's powder. You don't know how much to give your fish. It's powder. They're going to die if you overdose them on the...
It magically looks exactly
Look at
the
this.
same.
Look at this fish powder right here. Look at that.
And sometimes
Wow.
they're really sick and they need 2 of those instead of.
That does
one of
happen.
those.
The
And it
fish
says the
magically
milligram as
need
well.
the
Yeah.
same milligrams.
It does
Right.
also
That's what I'm
magically say 100 capsules, 250 milligrams each for the fish.
You can get it in 325.
You can get it in
500.
all kinds of-
Yep.
Yep.
Girl.
Yep. That's awesome, NWA Prepper. Good job. Jace Medical, if you have the money. Yeah, there's other places too, if you have the money.
You can get the humid part.
Or sometimes your fish get sick. Do you have resources prepackaged for wanderers to let them leave? I have what are called refugee buckets, and I also have what are called assault rifles. So depending on how you behave, you can have one or the other.
I just want cheese.
Sounds like a fish story. You just want cheese. You just want a refugee bucket full of cheese, some crusty
No,
bread.
I forgot. I decided that's how I'm gonna. I don't need rice and beans. I'm just gonna have like really.
Katie
good
Lynn's
cheese
going to be the
trade.
cheese lady
For all the
in
stuff you
camp.
need.
Yeah.
Gruyere, you know.
Did you ever
Cheddar.
get that ammo
Some Gruyere,
can
some
of
cheddar.
cheese stuff?
Do you sell tubing, bags, or syringes? Yes, for your dogs that might be dehydrated. We do have those available at the store for your canines that might be dehydrated. Just like your fish might get sick and need some amoxicillin, we also have doggy dehydration stuff at refugemedical.com.
We have one.
I have a random box full of cheese wags, but I don't have an ammo can. for
Praise
cheese
Yah,
wags.
Jared Wilkinson.
Maybe he took the ammo can.
Cheese is very important. What's up,
No, I had the
Tavar?
bo- like I ordered it like July of 2020 for the project I was gonna do, and then I never did it.
Oh, Joe. Yes, I'm aware, but I'm not getting into biblical creation versus NASA conspiracy theories right now. Also, I'm glad you did bring that up, though, because I do want to address something. Been getting a lot of comments from a lot of weirdos, which I don't know if they're subscribed or not, but if you're in the Bear Nation, do penance. Burpees. You earned burpees with these dumbass comments. Nuclear weapons aren't real. They were firebombed and blah, blah, blah. And cesium-137 isn't found until 1952, and it was firebombed in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay, who cares, asshole? Guess what? They still got effed up. What's your point? What is your point? Russia and the U.S. don't have nuclear weapons. They're not real nuclear. Well, okay, we can conventional bomb anybody back into the Stone Age as well. Like, we have options here. So what's your point? Why are you getting all wrapped around the axles on this? Like, who cares? Who cares if it's a thermonuclear explosion or it's a fire bomb or it's a whatever, hydrogen bomb or Moab or a what's that thing I'm thinking about? The Mach 4.2 hypersonic missile. Who cares? The effect is the same. You're screaming about, oh, it's all a lie. No shit, it's all a lie. The government told you. What do you think? Like, just all any of us are trying to do is find the least effed up narrative and then maybe go with that. That's it. So who cares if nuclear weapons are real or not? Why do you care? Because if one plane drops one bomb, or if 100 planes drop 100 bombs and it has the same effect, what do you care? What are you going to do about it that's so different? Shalom, brother. What's up, Ian McPhee? There is no spoon. What's up, Hunter Kirk? Happy birthday, Mrs. Hans. Shalom, sister. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. What do you plan to trade for currency when SHTF? Not a damn thing. That, like, buy the shit you need now. What are you trading for? Well, my neighbor has eggs and I've got goat milk. Okay, trade that. Like, labor's a good one to trade. I've seen people who are like, I have 1,000 Bic lighters. For what? People are going to need them in SHTF. It's like, I want 1,000 Bic lighters for me. I'm not going to trade them to Katie Lynn because she has cheese and I want,
I bet you will. Mhm. I don't know what I'm going to use the Bic lighter for, but I'd give you some cheese.
I'm going to get my own cheese. See, I'm
True.
not.
Well, that's what I think. You plan for your that, and if you end up having to trade because something's cool, great. But you don't.
But I think
store to trade.
so. Honestly, you're probably a better person to ask about this, and here's why. I am entrepreneurship mindset. I don't work for other people; they work for me, and I don't mean that egotistically. It's just a fact. It has been since I was 17 years
I can't
old.
imagine you working for anybody.
I'm not great at it. Like I need to be left alone. Tell me what you need to get done, and I will get it done. I'm terrible with micromanagement. But I don't do poverty mindset. I don't do constraints well. I don't do A or B. Like, Barry, you have to do A or B. It's like, or I could like rip up your piece of paper and throw it out the door and then push the house over with a bulldozer that the paper was in. Like, how's that for an answer?
Oh,
Like,
I was wondering why
so I don't think like that. I don't think about poverty mindset. I think about how to create wealth. I don't think about barter. I think about how to have the things that we're going to need and not just consume stuff, but to be able to produce stuff. So I don't know, Matt F. Sales at refugetraining.com.
So it's something that you're thinking about. I need to barter for this in the future. No, I'm just going to start saving that. I'm just going to start.
Exactly. Now, I have small denominational silver to ease the flow of goods and services. Bless you, Hans. Thank you. To ease the flow of goods and services, because that's what money does. That's why it was invented in the first place, because money allows you to trade two dissimilar things. If I have a chicken and you have a goat and we want to trade, but we don't want to kill the goat, we have dissimilar things. It's different if I'm killing the goat and I'm like, I will trade you 1/4 of this goat for that chicken. Sounds good. But otherwise, money is what makes up the difference there. So much so that we denote it down to the 100th of a cent. In some cases, the 1,000th of a cent. What's up, tribesman? Shalom, brother. That's a good guy right there.
I think the difference is you wouldn't think of it as trade. You would think of it as entrepreneurship. So like if the world goes sideways and you have all this stuff stored, other people want things and you've got things, you would think of a way to make a business out of it, not as a straight like, I'm going to trade you this for that. So it's similar, but it's a totally different mindset.
That's a good word. And also, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, what intentions are and what reality is are always two different things, but I don't intend to hang out with anybody other than the people I already have right now. And if they're like, hey man, can I get a Bic lighter? I'm like, hell yeah, you can get a Bic lighter. Not like you owe me 1/10 of an ounce of silver for this Bic lighter. Like,
we already live in community that trades in the way of like, we trade our time with each other. If I have something you need, I'm just going to give it to you because I know later if I need something,
yeah,
give it to me. We don't do a book of you traded this and I got one of these.
It all comes out in the wash. Like, like everybody, I have no idea how many times people have helped me. I have no idea how many times I've helped people. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. Hey man, can I borrow? Yeah, sure. Can you put some water in this for me, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
It's not like we're keeping score.
We're not
keeping score.
I have so much, like, I don't even know, like, when it comes, and see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about stuff, right? When it comes down to stuff, I have probably 1/4 of my house has stuff in it that I'm positive isn't mine. I don't know where it came from. And people are like, oh, I've been looking for that for 2 years. I think I left it here during Sukkot 2 years ago. I'm like, that makes sense. Okay.
It came from DR.
Yeah. So
DR found something that he let someone borrow like months ago.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this was mine.
And all of us would be like, well, cool, because I didn't know what that was.
It's like, hey, man, does anybody have a torque wrench I can borrow? It's like, yeah, I got a torque wrench. You give it to him. It's like, this is my torque wrench. It's like, oh, okay.
Sorry about
Makes sense.
NWA prepper. I think I even have stuff at your house.
I think you do.
Probably do.
And that's the thing. Like, so we're not like, there's not a tally. We're not keeping score. And so as far as Warrior Class 3, I see you. I'll get to you next. As far as like bartering, buying, selling, trading, like we already do life together. So it's not and I don't really want to go out in the world. I don't want to be in a position where I have to go trade with the world, if that makes sense. I want to be here with our people doing what we do. What is your background in trauma care? How did you learn it? I learned it at an early age. I had a cousin who was a state trooper, and he taught me some stuff. And then I had some other cousins that were Navy SEALs, and I thought that was the badassest thing that ever badassed. That was awesome. And they taught me some stuff growing up, and I did some scouting when I was younger, and they teach you basic first aid and all of that. And my mom knew some stuff, and she taught me some stuff. And one of my aunts is a nurse, and so she taught me some stuff. My brain's always been a sponge. And then I got into a situation where I was teaching people stuff, and they were teaching me stuff. And I did some subject matter expert stuff for DOD, Department of Defense, and the DIA, and DOE, Department of Energy, because I was a wind turbine guy, and that was kind of a big deal. When 9/11 hit, there was a lot of concern about what was happening overseas, but there was also a lot of concern about domestically what was happening, like targets in America that were soft, and people were concerned about the grid getting hit. And they're going to take the grid down. Hell yeah, they are. Like, easy to do. And so I trained some people up on like how to destroy the grid, because if you know how to destroy it and put it back together again, you know what to look for when somebody's trying to break it. So there's a lot of cross-pollination there as well. And I really dug that stuff, and I got into it, and I did more training, got more certs. And then what started the whole thing with Refuge Medical was I couldn't find a good IFAK, couldn't find a good individual first aid kit. And so I just started making some for me, and I showed them to some buddies of mine, former action guys and some Air Force PJs, and they're like, these things are awesome. Can we get more? It's like, no, but yes. And so I made some more, and we started selling Bearfax. And next thing you know, here we are employing 20 families with kits on 4 continents 2.5 years later with 50 lives saved. So is 7 female Katahdins for $1,500 a good buy? Hell yeah, that's a good buy. They're $400 a piece at the sale barn. So that's about half off. What do you think about AKs versus ARs? I like my ARs myself, but do you think an AK is worth it? No, I don't. And Tommy, here's why. It's not that I have anything against AKs. I own AKs. I own ARs. I own several different platforms. The short of the matter is, I don't care as long as you know how to run one, whatever one is. Whether it's an AR or an AK or whatever, I don't care. FN, FAL, whatever. Mossberg 500, Remington 870, just pick a platform. Mosin, don't care. Learn to run the damn thing. I think a lot of people create scenarios in their mind why they have to have an AK. I need an AK because of XYZ. And then they get it and they never do anything with it. This is my truck gun. This is my house gun. This is my barn gun. This is my 4-wheeler gun. This is my long range gun. This is my squirrel gun. And this is my, whatever. That's just masturbation. If you want the gun, buy the gun. You don't have to come up with a reason as to why you got to buy it. But justifying purchases of toys like that, because that's what they become, I think it's stupid. The gun doesn't matter. You matter. Your ability to shoot the gun matters. And it takes a lot of training to get you to the proficiency level where the gun now matters. Most guns are way better than the people holding them. And that's hard to hear, because I bet a lot of people right now are thinking, they're like, yeah, well, that's most people, but that's not me. No, it is you. It's 100% you. And it's 100% me too. That's why real training matters. It ain't the gun. You don't need an AK. Nobody needs an AK. I just have to have an AK because, or I just have to have an M4 because. You don't need anything. You probably watched the Grand Thumb video and he's like, oh, that's a cool AK. I think I need to buy an AK now. For why? To burn $1,000 when you should be putting beans and rice into buckets? I don't think it's a good idea. If you already have a rifle that works, no, you don't need an AK. And again, for what? I have AKs. I like AKs. I like AKs a lot. My go-to rifle when there's a bump in the night, it's an AR. Why? Because I can damn near shoot that thing with my eyes closed. That's why. So I'm not big into gun culture. I'm a huge proponent of the Second Amendment, but I think gun culture is becoming gay AF in the United States. A bunch of gun bros posing out on the range. I mean, I've seen it. I've been to these industry events and I've seen a lot of these air quote influencers. These guys can't shoot worth a shit. They're terrible. Not all of them, but most of them. They're terrible. And it takes them 5 magazines to warm up before the cameras start rolling. They're bad. I just posted a video on Patreon. What's today? Thursday? I think it was yesterday. About context for handgun training with practical versus absolute accuracy at 10 and 15 yards, showing you the drills that I was doing, what I was shooting, why I was shooting that way, and the difference between cool guys shooting and actual accuracy, absolute accuracy. Being able to put a round into this at 15 yards with your handgun on demand, and showing you my misses and my not great groups as well. Because the gun industry doesn't do that. The gun tubers don't do that. Everybody wants to think that they're the next, ultra super operator badass guy with, the whatever the cool guy gear is these days. It's like all that shit's masturbation. Your gun doesn't matter. Your plate carrier doesn't matter. None of that shit matters. If you haven't PT'd, if you haven't trained, if your logistics don't work, if you don't have people to do stuff with, if you don't know how to operate a radio, if you don't trust the people that you're with, if you're not well fed and you got some sleep last night, if you don't know how to deal with stress, if you can't carry a rucksack day after day after day after day after day, if you haven't hardened your hands and your feet and your heart and your mind and your soul and 1,000 other things, and they haven't changed the batteries in your weapons lights, and nobody gives a flying about your rifle or your plate carrier. Nobody whose opinion matters cares about those things. Masturbatory friends at the range, they might care. They might give a shit about gun whoredom. I don't care even a little bit, because it doesn't matter. So, how's that for a little rant? If an EMP, will the grid be repairable? Best guess. If so, how long? No, probably not. And define EMP. Entire grid nothing. Guys, prepare for the fact the economy is collapsing. That's actually happening right now. And the grid will go down because the economy is collapsing, because we have global supply chain issues, the dollar is being devalued, and there's nobody to come to work, and insurance companies are going under, and we're not smelting the aluminum and the copper that we need in order to be able to repair the grid. And by the way, once you shut down an aluminum foundry, you never start it up again. Think about that for a while. That's why the grid's going away. Okay, slow, steady decline. Again, not sexy. Nobody gives a shit about your AK. Nobody gives a shit about your EMP. Let's think about what's real. Quit reading the prepper novels and start doing shit. Okay? That's why the grid's going away. It will be death by 1,000 cuts. It'll be your neighborhood, then the next neighborhood, then the neighborhood, 2 neighborhoods over, and then 3 over, and then 4 over, one by one, as transformers break and they can't be replaced, as fuses pop and they can't be replaced, as lines are broken because of storms, and poles are snapped because of drunk drivers and they can't be replaced. And then the trucks that would come to service them don't have fuel and aren't running because the catalytic converter is jammed up and you can't get any catalytic converters, or they're out of diesel exhaust fluid, or there's no hydraulic fluid to put in the booms, or the insulated boom on the truck hasn't been inspected for electrical resistance because the inspector hasn't been in, and because of gas prices, and now that truck has to be taken out of service because the boom has to be inspected every 2 years or it comes out of service. Therefore, you can't use it because utilities are highly regulated. That's what's going to take the grid down. Now, maybe Ben over at Suspicious Observers is going to come on after I get off of this and be like, hey, major solar flare inbound, the world's going to end. And they'll be like, okay, yeah, 1 in a bajillion chance. There it was. It's still a statistical probability. It's just a less than 1% statistical probability. It's a greater than 50% statistical probability that the grid fails because of human error. Okay? Not because of the sun or nuclear weapons. And remember, from my earlier rant just a short while ago, nuclear weapons aren't real, remember? So I used to make transformers in my stead to close Central. My only heard was shipped to Mexico. Yep. Boy, there are a bunch of nosy people in here demanding answers to questions they should already know or be able to figure out on their own. Yeah. Yep, but that's kind of how this works. The lamps behind us came from Walmart. I don't know if that's a good place or a bad place. These are not the highest quality
No,
lamps
they're
there are.
not the.
They're more decoration.
Yeah, I mean they work. They work in a pinch, but they're not the high dollar. They're just from the camping aisle at Walmart.
They're pretty.
Our local Walmart has not had men's shoes in over a month. Don't know what to tell you, homie. I've been telling people for 4 years. For 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
5 years. Let's see. I don't know if I go over here to content.
And go to a thrift store. Go to Goodwill. I guarantee
Filter.
you you'll find a pair of men's shoes in your size.
Yeah.
Like there may not be new stuff.
Night NWA.
Good night, NWA. Filter.
You're so reserved and shy. Says ABT.
November 17th, 2017 was the first video I posted. So we're coming up on 5 years.
But can you see you in the video?
The truck docks.
That's a different me.
It's a totally different year, and it's really bad.
Truck
Yep.
docks.
So
You can always tell as you scroll back. Like,
And there's the bird walks.
do you recommend a book for raising sheep? No, we didn't read a book. We just got sheep and figured it out.
And watched a lot of Sandy Brock.
That's true.
Sheepishly Me.
Sheepishly Me. That's the name of her channel.
No, her channel is actually Sandy Brock, but like her brand is Sheepishly Me.
Sleepishly
That 5
she.
times fast.
Yeah.
Sheepishly Me. Sheepishly Me. Sheepishly Me.
No, it's not.
Sheepishly Me.
Okay,
Sheepishly
you're
Me.
special. But she
People like the drums,
does
too.
sheep husbandry and rearing to like a huge, large amount, like thousands of sheep or 8,000 sheep, but a huge operation. And just about anything and everything that you could experience with the sheep, she has. And it is a wealth of knowledge. So I love her channel.
The only thing I don't like about that channel is you watch it while we're laying in bed,
Yeah.
and I hear while I'm laying in bed. I'm like, that's so friggin' peaceful.
Yeah, he's like, is that is that
Our
our sheep?
sheep?
Or is that her sheep?
Drives me crazy.
That's how you fall asleep.
Kathleen Dell said, question, do you ever do a live Shabbat study? I do not. And the reason for that is, honestly, I don't have the bandwidth or the patience. It would 100% be work for me to do a study on Shabbat. Additionally,
on Friday and Sunday.
yeah, and additionally, we fellowship on Shabbat, and we don't need to be putting all those people on camera. Some of those people just don't want to be on camera, and I don't blame them. What's up, Rain Cat? So, yeah, Montana Sky, that's awesome. Yeah, No F-bombs in the comments, guys. If I say it, you can say it. If I don't say it, you don't say it. Okay?
Did you see the question about PJ?
I didn't. What was the PJ question?
Are
Are
you
y'all
related?
related?
Oh, Dad?
Dad? So I was like, you mean dad? I mean, no, but dad.
Come on.
We love Dad.
Did you guys get any storm damage this evening? We had the top snap out of one of
Bear
our
is
pine
PJ's
trees.
great-grandpa.
That's funny. Brain. We had a top snap out of one of our pine trees, and so that was fun. It didn't hit the fence, so that was cool. But one of our sisters had like her fence blew away, and some of her trees came down. So we'll fix that.
We had the umbrella, the big umbrella, flipping upward.
Yeah,
So I had-
Katie was saying
I had the
that.
daughter on one side, like, pulling it down.
They're hanging off of it, trying to close it.
How close is homesteading the Little House on the Prairie? Yeah, not the same, bro. It's homesteading is like, I'll tell you what.
Well, there's a lot of laughing and
If-
crying.
If you have trouble, and this is like the God's honest truth, if you have trouble doing the chores you have now at home, don't homestead. You're just adding more responsibility. Like, start with like bloom where you have been planted first, and then add the responsibility of like a bunch more living things that you got to take care of, because the animals don't care if you want to or not. If you don't feed them, they die. They're a lot like kids like that. So no, it's not all hunky dory. You know, it's not, you know, peace, love, and chicken grease. It's hard work, but it's good work. And then it's much more difficult to spin up a homestead than it is to maintain a homestead.
Yeah.
Once the fence is up and the waterers are in and the gates are hung and the animals are in there, like, it's way easier. Now it's just feed the animals, make sure they have water. Occasionally, they're going to make more animals.
Yeah.
Maintain the fence.
Fix fence when needed.
Fix fence, right. But it's way more difficult to spin one up.
Run out there in the middle of the live stream.
Do you do tithes within your congregation since there's no set church location? So every one of us tithes, but not to any one particular organization.
We don't tithe to our church.
We don't tithe to our church. We are the church. Church is people, not a building. Okay? So church is people, not a building. Now, we have camp funds, and like our camp fund is completely voluntary, and it's basically used for like operating expenses for the camp. Like we have, you know, we have stuff that needs to get paid.
Birthday parties.
Yeah, exactly. Birthday
If we go out to
parties.
dinner together, we don't make them split the check.
Yeah, take it out of the camp fund. Or like if somebody needs something, like they need something, it's like, yeah, camp fund, handle that. Because there's a command there. There's let none amongst you be poor. So
Food storage stuff. I don't know.
yeah,
That's
but
kind of basic.
we all, I can't speak for everybody else. I'm pretty sure we all tithe. I tithe to, I have a few different organizations I support. My favorite is an organization in Southeast Asia that deals with human trafficking, and they have a horrendous arrest record, meaning they don't usually arrest the people perpetrating the crimes. They have a more permanent solution, and I love that. So I dump a lot of money into their ministry. So yeah.
Yeah, and I look at tithing as not giving the money to a church. It's helping those in need. I mean, we've taken our tithe and paid someone's electric bill that was struggling.
Uh-huh.
Stuff like that.
I agree.
It's doing Yah's work. You know, using the money that you can to.
Do you guys have to pay taxes where you consider the church? We're people. We
We're
pay
people.
taxes.
We pay
Render unto
taxes.
Caesar's what is Caesar's. Like Yeshua.
We are
talked
not a
about
church. Even
We're
our
not-
501c3 is
we're-
not a church.
Yeah, we don't have 501c3s for church. We have Grindstone Ministries, which is a construction ministry, and Caleb House, which is a restoration facility for juvenile human trafficking survivors. We're not a church. Not in the legal sense. The church is the body. Big B said, "Hi, Bear Nation. Bear, what is your version of the 75 hard?" It's 75 hard, plus I read 10 pages of the Bible every day. So you PT twice a day. You take a selfie every day. You read 10 pages of a book every day. I added you read 10 pages of the Bible every day. You drink a minimum of a gallon of water. What's that?
You do your 4 Ps.
Oh, I also do the 4 Ps. Yeah, and so 4 Ps are power, passion, purpose, and productivity.
Cool.
And that's exactly right. That comes from Sean Whalen.
I'm reading the book.
Yeah, How to Get Shit Done, or How to Make Shit Happen is the name of his book. Yep. So,
Probably had a good question here.
Your feed is broken up on my end. Okay. Who had a good question?
Opel Beach.
Opel Beach.
New to Torah. Would you recommend a good teacher for teaching the Torah?
Yeah, you
Bible.
read the Bible. Start with honestly that. Start with that. Now, there's going to be things that don't make sense to you. When those things come up that don't make sense to you, then do some research. You don't understand enough about Shaul of Tarsus, aka the 13th apostle Paul, and you don't know the Torah. So then you read Galatians, and you're like, wait a minute, it sounds like he's saying don't keep the Torah, but you don't know what he's talking about. So now you have questions. Then go research Galatians. But one of the biggest things to understand was that the Creator, Yah, Father God, always wanted to have a personal relationship with us. Always. The children of Israel at Mount Sinai would not go up the mountain. They were scared. And so, thank you, Stacy Cape. And so they told Moses to go up the mountain. You talk to him, and then you come talk to us. We don't want to go up there. Yah desired that for you, that you would have a one-on-one relationship. Stop putting other people in between you and Yah. Read his word. Talk to him. Then if you need somebody to plus you up, then do some research. Now, if you're going to do that research, there are some I recommend more than others. Shofar Mountain, the number 2 Torah, Zach Bauer. Who else do I listen to? That's about it. 119 has some good stuff. Unlearn has some stuff. There's
Independent put some good videos out.
I don't know. Why did you choose the name Caleb House? Well, it's with a K, not a C for us. And it's because Caleb, was a freaking badass. That's why. And Caleb was one of only 2 of the spies of Israel when they went in to spy out the promised land that gave a good report. Joshua and Caleb. And at 40 years old, Caleb goes in to spy out the land. And he gives a good report. And he says, look, yeah, there's giants in there, but Yah is on our side. We got this. I know it's scary, but we got this. Well, everybody else bitches out and they don't go, right? And then they wander in the wilderness for 40 years. Then Miriam dies, and then Aaron dies, and then Moses does a handoff to Joshua, and Moses dies. And so Joshua then takes the people into the promised land. And when he does, and people miss this, it was not overnight. There was 5 years of warfare in the promised land. And so Caleb was 40 when they spied out the land. Then they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. That makes him 80. Then 5 years of warfare, 85. And then Caleb decides, hey, man, hey, Josh, can I have that mountain? And Josh was like, sure. What do you want it for? And he's like, that's Hebron. That's where Avram, Abraham, is buried. That's a special place, which, by the way, becomes Jerusalem. Can I have that mountain? And Josh was like, yeah, you can have it. But the sons of Enoch, the Anakim, are up there. There's 3 giants up there. And Caleb looks at Joshua and he says, I am as good today as the day that Moshe tapped us on the shoulder and said, go in and spy out the promised land. And Joshua essentially says, if you can take the mountain, you can have the mountain. And this is the New Living Bear translation here. Caleb says, boys, grab your swords, we're going to work. And they go up the mountain and they kill three. He kills 3 giants at 85 years old. And so I love not just the story of Caleb, I love the metaphor of Caleb. We are slaying giants in the promised land with Caleb House. That's what we're doing. And the whole point of Caleb House is to put a biblical covering over widows and orphans and to break generational curses. So that's where we got the name from. There have been sound issues with this video on and off. Thanks. Nothing I can do.
Yeah. It's just a little.
You know, here's the thing. I could invest a lot more time and energy and money, frankly, into production quality at this channel. And I mean this with all the love in my heart that I can muster. I don't care. I don't care. If you want to hear what I have to say, this is how you're going to hear it. And let's remember, this is a preparedness channel. If sounds bother you, homie, you're not going to make it. Whether nuclear bombs are real or not, you ain't going to make it. So, Shalom, Andrew Barnes. And I really don't care. Like, I don't have the bandwidth, y'all. I got 4 businesses and 2 ministries, and saving people's lives is way more important to me than making sure my audio is perfect. I'm not here for the clicks and the likes and the YouTube ad revenue. I don't give a shit. I'd much rather save somebody's life, literally, not figuratively, literally. I would much rather literally save somebody's life than F around with the appropriate microphone to use with this computer and this firmware. And did you do the update? And no, I don't. I'm incapable of giving a shit about that. So, yeah.
He apologized. He was just trying to let
I'm not, no, and I'm not, okay. And also, you will learn this about Bear. I can love you and sound like an a-hole at the same time.
Very much so.
Yep.
Very much so.
So,
Katie Lynn seconds it from down the hall.
Are you blowing your nose or farting?
Blowing the nose.
just wondering. So,
try not to sniffle on camera.
You do you, girl.
Probably all the puppy pee everywhere.
The only one after 40 years that led the children to Canaan's land. So it wasn't Canaan's land. It was the land of Canaan, but it wasn't Canaan's land. See, Shem, who was the father of Eber, which became the Everites, which became the Hebrews, Shem was promised that land. And Ham was supposed to go to the south, to Africa, and Japheth was supposed to go to the north, to Europe, and then later to the New World, the Americas. And Shem was supposed to get what we now call the Middle East, or the Promised Land. And Shem, think about it, Semitic, anti-Semitic, Shem, the children of Shem. But Ham and his 4 sons, Canaan, Put, Lud, and Cush. Canaan, Put, Cush, and Mitzrayim, his 4 sons, took the Middle East. And Canaan, or Canaan, took what was called the Promised Land that the children of Israel were supposed to have. And so when the children of Israel go into the Promised Land, they weren't taking Canaan's land, they were taking their land back from Canaan. And, yeah. Well, killing is bad. I read it in the Bible. It's like that word is murder, and there's a difference between killing and murder. Sometimes God says it, go in there and kill everybody. That's called putting somebody under the ban, and it happens a lot in the Bible. If the grid goes down, you'll be wishing to hear this rough audio just one more time. Glock 316, bless you, brother. Tabar, I appreciate that. Bear, I've unsubbed from plenty of polished channels for lack of value and content. I'm still subbed here. Take that for what it's worth. Appreciate you, bro. Do you think the mark of Cain is vampirism? Whoop. Nope. I think it was a physical mark. That's what I think. It was a physical mark because people had to be able to see it at a distance. And people say, well, who was Cain afraid of getting killed by? Because at that point in the Bible, there's only 4 people, Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel. It's like, no, Adam and Eve had other sons and daughters, and that's who Cain was afraid of killing him, because Cain killed Abel, and the rest of the people on the earth were his direct family, and they probably weren't super happy about that. What is your opinion on the book of Enoch and its importance since it's not in the Bible? Is it in your scriptures? That's 2 questions. It is not in my scriptures. I don't have my scriptures. I have a book called The Scriptures, and it's not in the scriptures. The scriptures is the Bible. I have a video on why I use the scriptures. It's called Bear's Bible for Torah Study, so you can check that out. That video. Also, what do I think about the book of Enoch? It's apocryphal, and I do believe it's valid. What is referred to now as First Enoch, Second Enoch, and Third Enoch are very likely like medieval forgeries and or shenanigans. But First Enoch is... Bob White, I just answered your question. Why'd you ask it again? Maybe the audio is so bad that Bob didn't hear it. Anyway, but I do believe that Enoch was at one point divinely inspired scripture. I don't believe that we have enough touch points to confirm that it is, that the book we have today is the book that they had then. And that's how many books did the Catholic Church remove? 22 of them, from 88 canonical texts to 66 canonical texts. So many questions. Other whiskey that you enjoy besides Screwball? Maker's Mark. Do you know of a translation of the Apocrypha similar in quality to the 2009 scriptures? Yes. Gosh dang, we just cleaned. Where did it go? It's by Joseph B. Lumpkin.
Yeah.
Oh, the hidden ones? I got it.
You got it? Oh, I can see it from here. There it is. So what happens, you clean your house, you lose your Apocrypha. And it doesn't look like it's clean at all anyway, because puppies and kids and stuff, right? I was just talking about that earlier.
Poop and pee everywhere.
This right here. The Lost Books of the Bible, The Great Rejected Texts by Joseph B. Lumpkin. And the reason I like this, and this has the first book of Adam and Eve, the second book of Adam and Eve, first book of Enoch, second book of Enoch, also known as the Secrets of Enoch, Jubilees, Jasher, the story of Ahikar, the Apocalypse of Abraham, Apocalypse of Thomas, 4 Ezra, 2nd Baruch, the War Scrolls, Gospel of Philip, Gospel of Mary Magdalene, Apocrypha of John, the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Judas, and Acts chapter 29. Now, the reason I like this one, for example, where are we here? This looks like Jubilees. Jasher. Okay. So the reason I like this one is that there's a preface of every one of these books on the back here, these non-canonical texts. This guy who wrote this book, who compiled these texts, has his doctorate in biblical studies, biblical history. And so he has researched every book that's in here and gives you an overview of it. So, for example, the history of the book of Jasher. The book of Jasher, or Sefer HaYashar, is referred to in the books of Joshua, and 2 Samuel of the Holy Bible. Behold, it is written in the book of Yasher, 2 Samuel. Is it not written in the book of Yasher, Joshua? Jasher, or Yashar, is a Hebrew word meaning upright. Jasher is not the name of the author or any prophet or judge of Israel. As scholars had previously thought, the name refers to the fact that the records, facts, and history are upright, correct, and thus trustworthy. The value of the book of Jasher is seen in the large quantity of additional detail revealed in the period between divine creation and the time of Joshua's leadership over Israel when the Israelites were led into the land of Canaan, or Canaan. And anyway, it goes on from there. So it gives you the historicity of each one of these books. So, and he'll be the first one to tell you, yo, dude, second book of Enoch, most likely medieval horse shit. But we included it, so now you have that for context, okay? So I like this book a lot as far as the Apocrypha goes, the lost books of the Bible. And somebody asked me earlier, what is Apocrypha? And there was a good quote in here that I probably won't find right now. But basically, Martin Luther said that, paraphrasing, we don't hold these texts to the same God-breathed standard of the biblical canon, but they are profitable nonetheless for an understanding of the Father and his word. And that's basically where I land on it as well. Hoofta. Even if a book isn't divinely inspired, I still want to read it. I read all sorts of books about permaculture and other stuff, so why not? Yeah, I agree with that. What is a good cigar lighter recommendation? I don't know, man. If you find a good one, let me know, because it seems like every few months I'm buying another one from Cigars International and they all just fall the hell apart. Have you ever smoked a Gloria Cubano Series 5 Maduro? Not that I'm aware of, no.
Is it good?
Can you use the emergency Mylar blankets for food storage? No. No, you cannot.
They're super thin compared
Yep.
to
And they're designed for one-time use. How many chickens do you have? How many stars are in the night sky? I have no idea. Are you Jewish, Hebrew, or Christian? Oh, Bobby. I'm so Christian that Christians don't like me. That's what I am. I believe in Messiah. I believe that we are supposed to keep the Torah. By grace through faith, we are saved, lest any man should boast. And also, if you love me, keep my commands. And so, I don't know. I don't want to dive into that rabbit hole right now. Go watch. You can Google Bear Independent Testimony. There's a 3-part series on that as to what I believe, how I got here, what my convictions are. So.
It's okay, Bobby.
What's
we
up?
just get asked that like a lot. A couple of times every live stream. So it's not personal. It's just an old answer.
I follow Messiah. We have a brother who likes to say, and it's an excellent word, read the book and do what it says. That's what we do.
And Messiah points to Torah.
Yeah, and Torah points to Messiah.
Right.
You can't have one without the other. So,
but a lot of people like to worship Messiah.
mm-mm.
No.
Yep. I'm here. What's up, Alpha Charlie Concepts? I'm here for the coffee. I was told there'd be coffee. I didn't tell you that. How do we donate to Caleb House? That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking. You go to grindstoneministries.com. You hit the donate now button, and I appreciate that very much. Do you practice communion? We do the bread and the wine on occasion, but we don't practice. It's like, it's not a practice. It's not part of our doctrines and covenants. It's not ceremonial. We just do it when it feels right to do it.
We do it more as a remembrance,
That's what
not
it
as
is.
a do it as a forgiveness of my sins.
That's what Yeshua says it is. Do this in remembrance of me.
Right.
Right? And that's why we do it. It's not dogmatic. Exactly. Is tobacco and weed a sin? I don't smoke. If it alters your state of mind, you're supposed to be sober-minded. So if you're not sober-minded, that's a problem. And that's where people say, see, you can't drink. No, Yeshua's first miracle was turning water into wine. Water, by the way, if you read that carefully in the Gospels, that water was the water that was used for the cleansing per the method of the Yehudim, which goes all the way back to the red heifer at the temple, which we were reading about in last week's Torah portion. So just another tie-in between Messiah and the Torah. But yeah, it was wine. In fact, Paul writes to Timothy in 2 Timothy. He says, from now on, don't drink just water, but take a little wine for your stomach as well. Okay. Like wine is good to go as long as you don't abuse it. And some people can't not abuse it, so then they don't have to drink it. But you have to be sober-minded. Drinking is okay. Drunkenness is not. It's Exodus chapter... No. Is it Leviticus 10? I think it's Leviticus 10. When two of Aaron's sons bring the strange fire and get smoked by Yah at the door of the tabernacle. What are your thoughts on building an underground bunker by tunneling on the side of the mountain on the land I own? I haven't been able to find a good source materials for safety parameters. Bro, if you have the money to tunnel into the side of a mountain, just buy an effing bunker. If you don't have the money to safely tunnel into the side of a mountain, don't do it, because the thing that you think is going to save your life is going to kill you while you're trying to build it. So the wine was my grape juice, but it was fermented grapes. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It was wine.
There's a lot of like Baptist churches that say it was juice.
That's horseshit. It says wine.
It says
they have
wine.
a word for juice. So I never drink enough that I can't deadlift. Exactly, Iridium Group.
Such a different thing. I always say I never drink enough to like not be able to take care of a baby. Very different.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson, Bear, you seem stressed tonight. Hey man, we've been doing some stuff. How many times have I mentioned we are working more than a dozen cases with Grindstone right now? That's not nothing. That's not nothing. If you had a dozen kids that you're going to be responsible for until they reach adulthood and you are responsible for their everything, their food, their clothing, their shelter, their security, their protection, their medical needs, their emotional needs, their spiritual needs, their behavioral therapy needs, their everything. And in order to be able to do that, you took your war chest, the money that you have, and you dumped it out on the ground and set it on fire to be able to provide. Yeah, you'd be a little stressed too. So that's why I don't give a shit if my audio sucks. I don't care. There's more important shit in the world than, I need a different microphone, or I can't believe he calls himself a Christian and he said a bad word. Kiss my ass. Find a different channel to watch. I don't care. You're looking exhausted, Bear. I am. I just told you why. Because we do things that are more important than talk at the internet. And the push-pull with that is I need to talk at the internet, because if I don't talk at the internet, then you guys won't know about the important things we do, and then you won't partner with us in the doing of it, and then we'll be screwed. And Tyler said, Bear, your audio sucks, and now Tyler is no longer a member of this channel. So bye, Tyler. No, Sarah. No. DHS and CPS don't help. They set guidelines that you have to meet. And local churches don't help. They talk about wanting to help. So we do what we do. That's all. And the thing is, it's worth being tired about. It's good. It's a good tired. It's a good tired.
It's day 5. We got today, we got day 6, and then we rest.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
We count the seconds for Shabbat.
Yep. So. Yep.
Bob's back.
Hey, it's Bob's back. I appreciate y'all. I'd like to let you know that you are a positive factor in sharing knowledge is welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate your rescue. So yeah, I'm tired, and it's okay. It's a good tired. Ministry work is not something we talk like we touch on it here, but it's not something we talk about. And unlike those starving kids in Africa, those photos that everybody likes to pass around to, engender an emotional response that will get people to open their wallets, you will never see our children. Never. They will never be on camera. You're never going to know their names. You're never going to know what happened to them. They don't exist. They're gone. You can't find them. They're gone. You'll never see them. The end. They get a new life. They don't get to be paraded in front of the camera to make people, feel bad and have an emotional response. That's horse shit. We don't talk about what we do because there's legitimate operational security issues. But we do it. And I am dependent upon the Father for provision, protection, blessing. And see, I know that even just touching on the subject, some of y'all, you get the tinglies from the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. And then he's like, hey, go do this thing. Go volunteer, go donate, go provide material support, whatever. And then you do. And then we get what we need. I don't need to whore over here in Babylon in order to get Yah to support what we're doing. There's times I want to scream at the camera. If you guys only knew what I know, you would oh my gosh. But I can't, and I won't. It's weakness. And I need Yah, frankly, way more than I need y'all. I love y'all. I do. But I need him. It's got to be right with him. It's got to be right between he and I first and foremost before it could ever be right in between you and I. So. Anyway.
I know. It's the pups, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
good dog.
2 dogs.
It is so cold in here.
Isn't it?
It is.
It's lovely.
this is lovely.
And it's quiet.
I was about to say
I
that.
need
It's
more
quiet.
water.
It's
Can you give me
cool
some more
and
water, please?
quiet.
Yeah.
You don't have that background.
We just installed a mini split yesterday. So I'm glad we did. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Gun show. GB said gun show. Do you accept donation of time for construction in Caleb House? Email admin@Grindstone Ministries. Thank you, sweetheart. How's the diet going? It's going fine. Just eat the stuff you're supposed to eat. Don't eat the stuff you're not supposed to eat. GrindstoneMinistries.com or admin@Grindstone Ministries.
What is a mini split?
Why don't you tell them, sweetheart?
It's like a split, but smaller.
So it's like a ductless system that's like a pretty big AC and heat pump in one. So I'm sure y'all have seen them. Like a lot of restaurants are using them now, but it's basically like the wall unit that is the blower and fan, or same thing. But it's that, and then the heater coil. And then you have lines that run outside the wall to an outside condenser. And that's what transfers. I don't know. I'm not an HVAC person.
It's mini.
It's mini
And it's split.
It's way more.
Half of it's
split.
inside the house and
Half
half
of
it's
it's
outside
in,
the
half
house.
of it's out. And it's way more efficient than window units and space heaters or baseboard heaters. and that's what we had before. So we're super stoked about the mini split.
It's like an air conditioner without all the ducts on it.
And
Yeah.
And
Pretty much.
that thing right there, that mini split, that's an 18,000 BTU, and it's 30 starting amps, 18 operating amps. Good night, Stacy Kate. So 18 amps for 18,000 BTUs of heating and cooling. Part of the reason we wanted to do the mini splits is because as we work towards being able to run everything we have on solar, it takes a lot less energy to run a mini split than it does to run a traditional central heating and air, or worse yet, window units.
Mm-hmm.
So Bama Hammer, praise Yah. 30 amp circuit Ghost, 30 amp 240 circuit, 4-wire install, and 18 amps operation.
Yeah.
30 starting amps, 18 amps running current.
We can show it to them.
Our window unit, we like have our window unit going, and you turn the hot water heater going, and you hit the microwave, pop.
Yep. Too many things. I looked at mini splits, but I don't want my log walls jacked up. They still would have to drill a hole through them to mount it. Yep. You need a 3.5 inch diameter hole.
Yeah, you could probably get by with like a 3 1/4, maybe even a 3-inch hole, because that little pipe thing, 3 1/4.
Did you design a solar passive house for that house? Nope, we didn't design shit on this house.
No, we didn't.
We're doing
we
the
got
best
what
we
we
can
got.
with this jacked up canvas that we got. It's we're thankful to have it, but this house it's almost as old as I am.
Yeah.
And
One stages.
they meant well, but they didn't really know what they were doing. Your sound is garbled. I don't give a shit.
I wonder if you're next to the front.
I wonder if I care. Oops. Turns out I don't. A couple more minutes and I'm out. I'm blowing this pop stand. Awesome, Rain Cat. That's awesome.
It's crazy. They say the mic's bad, but they can hear it coughing.
I don't know. It's a constant bitch. Bear, your audio sucks. Okay, don't watch. Unsubscribe.
We spend too much money on the green screen.
I think that's a good policy. Like, just unsubscribe, because if it's little things like that are like, it's like when PJ shoots a video and it's windy and people are like, oh my gosh, the wind. It's like, shut the F up. We're talking about preparedness and survival here. It's like, I'm sorry your earbuds got scratchy because of the wind. It's like, suck it up, Buttercup. Like, we're talking about things that are like truly life-changing. Like, probably will kill a lot of people. And it's like,
if you're focusing on that small little thing,
yeah,
you're not going to make it when SHT happens.
go get punched in the face. Like, honestly, stress inoculation. Go do some type of martial art. Just go get punched in the face for stress inoculation. Romans 12:18, I don't know. But with that, I'm out of here. I'll see you all tomorrow. Brief in the morning. Bless y'all. Shalom.